Good morning, and welcome to this online service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of the South Hills, also known as Sunnyhill. Our mission at Sunnyhill is to create a more just and compassionate community within and beyond our walls. My name is Mary Jo Hennessy, and I serve as a worship associate for this congregation. If you are a newcomer to our congregation, please go to sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says New to Sunnyhill. To receive more information about our congregation, sign up to receive our weekly electronic newsletter called The Beat. Today's service, titled Let Justice Roll Down, features guest minister Joan Sabatino, director of UU Justice PA. Joan will reflect on justice in our U.S. and UU histories and strategies for moving justice forward in our PA General Assembly. I'll light our chalice this morning with words written by Reverend Sarah Lawal. Out of the flames of fear, we rise with courage of our deepest convictions to stand for justice, inclusion, and peace. Out of the flames of scrutiny, we rise to proclaim our faith, with hope to heal a fractured and hurting world. Out of the flames of doubt, we rise to embrace the mystery, wonder, and awe of all there is and all there is yet to be. Out of the flames of hate, we rise with the force of love, love that celebrates our shared humanity. Out of the flames, we rise.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free of hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way.
Once upon a time, there was a drop of water named Higgins. Higgins was no ordinary drop of water. He was a drop with a dream. Higgins lived in a valley where it had not rained in a very long time, so all of the lovely green grass was turning brown, and all the beautiful flowers were wilting, and all the trees were starting to droop. Higgins had a dream that one day the valley would be a beautiful place again. But what could he do? After all, he was only a drop of water. One day, Higgins decided to travel and tell the others about his dream. The other drops listened very politely, but no one believed his dream would come true. "Higgins," said one, "get your head out of the clouds. You can't spend your whole life dreaming." Higgins decided that he had to do something to make his dream come true. So he began to think and think and think. One day, as he was walking by a rusty old bucket, he got an idea. If enough of us drops of water got together in this bucket, Higgins thought, there would be enough water to sprinkle on a few flowers to help them grow and become beautiful again. Eagerly, Higgins told everyone his great idea, but everyone thought he was being foolish. "That Higgins, nothing but a dreamer," they said. Higgins decided that he had to do something to convince the others that he was right. So he said to them, "I don't know about you, but I'm getting into that bucket. I hope some of you will join me. Then there might be enough water to help at least some flowers grow beautiful again." So Higgins ran as hard as he could, hopped way up in the air, and landed with a kerplunk in the bottom of the bucket. And there he sat, just a drop in the bucket. For a long time, Higgins was really lonely. It seemed like no one was going to join him. But after a while, some of the other drops could see that the grass was dying, and the flowers were wilting, and the trees were drooping. They all agreed that something must be done. Suddenly, one drop shouted, "I'm going into the bucket with Higgins," and he leapt through the air and landed, kerplunk, in the bucket. Then two other drops yelled, "Wait for us!" and they hopped through the air and landed in the bucket, kerplunk, kerplunk. Then 10 drops dropped through the air and into the bucket, then 30, then 50, and then hundreds of drops came from all around just to hop in the bucket. Soon, the bucket was completely full of water. But there were still more drops to join, so they found another rusty old bucket and hopped in. Before long, there were 2 buckets of water, then 3, then 4, then 10, then hundreds, and then thousands of buckets of water. Along came a powerful breeze that blew over all the buckets, and the water flowed together to make a mighty stream. Everywhere the water flowed, the grass turned green once again, and the flowers bloomed once again, and the trees, they stood tall and straight once again. All this happened because Higgins had a dream, and his dream came true, because he knew that although he was just a drop in the bucket, enough drops in the bucket make a bucket full. And when there are enough buckets with the wind behind them, then justice will roll down like waters, and righteousness like a mighty stream.
This is the time in our service when we share joys and sorrows submitted by members of the congregation. After each joy or sorrow that I read, please respond by saying, "We hold you in our hearts." A sorrow from Mary Klaber. Mary says, Heidi's 7-year-old buddy Weston was injured over the weekend. He fell into a fire pit at a Halloween party, burning his legs and backside. Weston spent several days in the burn unit at West Penn and underwent surgery on Monday. He is currently home recuperating, but his parents are worried about nerve damage and won't know more until his bandages come off on Tuesday. If you could please keep this sweet boy in your thoughts during his recovery, we would appreciate it. To Mary, her daughter Heidi, her friend Weston, and family, we hold you in our hearts. Please join me in the spirit of meditation or prayer. How very little time we spend simply listening. Not listening to be entertained, not listening to find fault or to argue, not listening to gain advantage, not listening even to acquire knowledge, but listening simply and intently to what might be heard beneath the roar of those other thoughts and pursuits, what might be heard when our attention is focused only on the sounds themselves rather than our interpretations of them, what might be heard when we are still enough to hear our own internal rumblings, not critically, but with a mind that says open and open again and again. Let us listen together in silence to the sounds beneath the rumble and the roar. May the stillness of this moment open us now to that which often goes unnoticed. May the quiet of this moment return to us when we need silence amidst the noise. And may the togetherness of this moment remind us that we are not alone. Amen. Our guest speaker this morning is the Reverend Joan Sabatino, director of UU Justice PA. I got to know Joan when she was one of our UU ministers in the Pittsburgh area, serving First UU of Indiana, PA. I'm delighted to welcome her virtually and am grateful to her for her message this morning.
In the Midst of a World by Rebecca Ann Parker. In the midst of a world marked by tragedy and beauty, there must be those who bear witness against unnecessary destruction and who, with faith, rise and lead in freedom with grace and power. There must be those who speak honestly and do not avoid seeing what must be seen of sorrow and outrage, or tenderness and wonder. There must be those whose grief troubles the water, while their voices sing and speak refreshed worlds. There must be those whose exuberance rises with lively and lovely energy and articulates earth's joys. There must be those who are restless for respectful and loving companionship among human beings, whose presence invites people to be themselves without fear. There must be those who gather with the congregation of remembrance and compassion, draw water from old wells, and walk the simple path of love for neighbor. And there must be communities of people who seek to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God and transform and bless life. There must be religious witness.
There is always a light when we are ready to see it. There is always a light when we are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill, together we will. There is always a light in the dark. We are ready to see it. There is always a light in the dark. We are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night and be a gift. Together we will. There is always a light. There is always a light. We are ready to see it. There is always a light. There is always a light. We are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night and be a gift. Together we will. There is always light. There is always dark. There is always light. There is always dark. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night and be a climb this hill. Together we will. There is always shine. There is always dark. There is always shine. There is always dark. Be the light.
Good morning. We are living in precarious, hard to comprehend, frightening, and yet possibly potential times. I'm going to cut right to the chase this morning. Here is my sermon in a few sentences. Our Unitarian Universalist faith is grounded in justice. Justice is integral to our history. Justice is integral to our principles. Justice is a part of who we are. And our country, but more specifically our state, needs us, needs our values, needs our vision, needs our vision of a just and equitable world. Needs our vision of a system based in love rather than hate. This is my Pennsylvania social justice message. Unitarians and Universalists were at the table when our founding fathers created our governing documents, our Declaration of Independence, and our Constitution. At the same time, we know these men knew that they had stolen the land from our indigenous peoples, created savages rather than neighbors recognized as humans. At the same time, we know these men owned slaves, had political power, no different from today's politicians who promote legislation to enhance their own political power and their financial resources rather than serve the people who elect them. During these same early decades of the establishment of our country, Unitarians and Universalists were also abolitionists. The women, men also, but mostly the women, founded our education system and our libraries and hospitals. We were and are good people. Our ancestors were good people. But we must also pause, admit our ancestors' transgressions, reconcile with honesty and love when we can, and turn toward goodness. Immigrants built our roads, our railroads, our skyscrapers, our bridges. Pioneers, adventurers with families looking for a better future, conquered the lands and the rivers and the people from sea to shining sea. Again, I'll say we are not evil. We were not evil. We are human, with human foibles and tendencies and hearts and minds filled with possibilities. We can choose love over hate. Another belief that I hold and has become even stronger for me since I've been in Harrisburg now for 2 years is that we've never fully healed from our Civil War. Slavery and the decades and decades of racism that continues today have never fully or adequately been healed. And we still witness and internalize the consequences. All of us, good, bad, black, white, wealthy, poor, those whose decisions are based in fear, and those of us who side with love. All of us must heal, reconcile, and move on. I watched this weekend the documentary by Henry Gates Jr. and Brad Pitt, in which they visit high school and college classrooms across the South. It's worth a watch. It's also a shout out to some of our educators of how they dig out and change the minds of young people. The foundations of our principles. Our first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And our seventh, the interconnected web of all existence, ground our theology in humanity and our love for the earth. Our other five principles ground us in our daily living with reminders like justice, equity, compassion, acceptance, conscience, peace, liberty, and justice for all. And of course, one of our uniquenesses, the word democracy in our guiding principles. I want to repeat my sermon in a few sentences. Our Unitarian Universalist faith is grounded in justice. Justice is integral to our history. Justice is integral to our principles. Justice is a part of who we are and our country, but more specifically, our state needs us, needs our values, needs our goodwill. A very quick romp through history, our Unitarian history, our Universalist history, and our UU history. I've already mentioned our ancestors' involvement in our Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. Living, breathing documents that exist still today and hopefully will continue to. I've already mentioned our early efforts in education and healthcare and libraries. But also remember Theodore Parker with his revolver behind his pulpit in case anyone tried to stop him from allowing Negroes to attend his church services. And our other abolitionist efforts and our work for the Underground Railroad that cut right across Pennsylvania. Remember the Wassels, who rescued thousands of Jewish children from Eastern Europe in the 1930s. Remember our journalistic arm, the Beacon Press and the Pentagon Papers, published to shed light on our government's decisions during the Vietnam War. Our UU Service Committee and its efforts around the world to help women and children end poverty and find a better life. Amnesty International, headed for years by former UUA President Bill Schultz. Our statements of conscience at our General Assemblies each year around environmental justice, women's rights, and LGBTQIA justice. Our ongoing understanding of the earth given to us as a gift to tend and protect. Just a few highlights of our history. But it supports my premise that our history is filled with justice efforts and that our principles are filled with justice. And UU Justice PA continues these efforts. I think by now everybody knows we are no longer UU Plan, we are UU Justice PA. No one knew what UU Plan stood for. I have personally had legislators and partners in Harrisburg literally thank me for the name change. Much better, they say. Now folks know who we are, what we do, and where we do it. We are Unitarian Universalists working for justice in Pennsylvania. Specifically today, our democracy is in peril. It's not just one bill or two or one issue. It is a culture of greed, corruption, power grabbing, and fear. It's not only our state, it's states across the country, but ours is worse than some. We are on the brink of destruction. We must join the fight in whatever way you can. We can't all come lobby in Harrisburg. We can't all serve at justice tables. We can't all become politicians or get elected to justice-making, policy-making tables in our local communities or in the state. But we all can do something. And you can support UU Justice PA with your financial resources or become part of one of our teams, attend one of our education programs, or hopefully some of you will come and lobby with me in Harrisburg. You know, once you lobby once or twice and you see that it's just human beings talking to human beings, trying to convince them that our justice-seeking way is the way they should lead, it becomes easier. And if not in Harrisburg, in your local office, do it. I'm going to remind you one more time of my sermon. Justice is integral to who we are as Unitarian Universalists. Justice is integral to our principles. It's integral to our history. It's a part of who we are. And our country, but more specifically our state, needs our values, needs our progressive thinking, needs our compassionate, understanding hearts. Pennsylvania was a key state in the 2020 presidential election, and it will be again. Voting day is this Tuesday, I'm sure most of you have already filled out your ballot, mailed it in. But as we move forward, 2022, 2024, and beyond, Pennsylvania is going to be a key state. We know that if everyone voted, no matter their party, but if voting was a trusted cultural norm in our country, that diverse, progressive, love-based rather than hate-based leaders would run and would win. Voting is integral to what I call our progressive agenda. And what is that? What does it mean? It means help for families. It means compassion. It means justice. It means a path to citizenship, a path to a better life. I personally don't want to go back to the good old days. Tell me, when were those good old days? I've already acknowledged that we were part of the founding of our country, Unitarians and Universalists, and we know that mistakes were made. When were the good old days? They weren't. They never were here. They never were. They never existed. But it is time to bring fairness into our legislation. It is time to step away from racist policies and systems. It is time for fair taxation. It is time to help people, not corporations and big business. And instead, we need to fairly and justly tax the rich and big business. And I do think we need to rethink some of our social programs and how they are administered. We need to get away from the racist rules and legislation that we have maintained as middle-class white people. We have to provide a home for all of our families, for all of our children. We need to have good paying jobs that everyone can be hired, no matter the color of their skin or their economic reality. We need universal health care. We need childhood education. And we need health care. It's integral to the future of our country. We are so sad for the industrial country that we are. We are very, very sad. Unless we forget, the earth really is on fire. Our young people know it, and our youth know it, and they care, and we need to care. I had 2 baby granddaughters born this summer. I worry about the future, their future. The mission of UU Justice PA is to pursue justice by voting, advocating, and making just public policy. So let's talk about that last phrase for just a moment. Making just public policy. Our long-term goal is to encourage Unitarian Universalists across our state to take a turn at the policy-making tables in your local communities. And once you get this experience, eventually sit at state legislative tables. We, our state and our country, need to turn back toward the light and love. This is hard work. I've become a fan of John Lewis. May he rest in peace. A man who fought tirelessly and consistently for racial and economic justice in our country. He is an inspiration. He knew how hard it was to keep going when he was tired, when the path forward seemed unclear. He knew injustice. He knew pain, both physical and emotional. He believed that right in the end would win, but the journey toward wholeness was long and hard. So I'll end with a quote from John Lewis. You are a light. You are the light. Never let anyone any person or any force dampen, dim, or diminish your light. Study the path of others to make your way easier and more abundant. Lean toward the whispers of your own heart. Discover the universal truth and follow its dictates. Release the need to hate, to harbor division, and the enticement of revenge. Release all bitterness. Hold only love, only peace in your heart, knowing that the battle of good to overcome evil has already won. Choose confrontation lightly, but when it is your time, don't be afraid to stand up, and speak out against injustice. And if you follow your truth down the road to peace and the affirmation of love, if you shine like a beacon for all to see, then the poetry of all great dreamers and philosophers is yours to manifest in a nation, in a world, and in a beloved community that is finally at peace with itself. So may it be. Amen.
This morning's designated offering will benefit UU Justice PA, which, as we have just heard from Reverend Joan Sabatino, is a statewide organization that pursues justice by voting, advocating, and making justice-focused public policies. Current initiatives include urging state legislators to take action to protect reproductive rights, protect and extend voting rights, and require employers to pay a living wage to all workers. If you would like to make a gift via our online giving system, you can do so in one of two ways. You can go to sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says Online Giving, and then follow the instructions. Once you get to the drop-down menu, please choose Designated Collections to give to UU Justice PA, or 2021 Pledge Collections for payments toward your pledge. And you can also give by text at 412-324-3130. And as always, thank you for your generosity.
No freedom, the wise man said, let justice roll down when the poor cry out for shelter and bread. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary, walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Hatred will never drive out hate. Let love roll down, roll down. Remember, our hearts can make us great. Let love roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary, walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. And let your love roll down like a mighty stream. When brutality threatens our daughters and sons, let peace roll down, roll down. May our voices rise up louder than the guns. Let peace roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary, walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. And let peace roll down like a mighty stream. Step by step, one by one, let justice roll down, roll down. They can kill the prophet, but the dream lives on. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary, walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream.
Please join me in saying the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And we'll close with these words from Andrea Hawkins Camper. May we see all as it is, and may it all be as we see it. May we be the ones to make it as it should be. If not us, who? If not now, when? This is answering the cry of justice with the work of peace. This is redeeming the pain of history with the grace of wisdom. This is the work we are called to do. This is the call we answer now. To be the barrier and the bridge. To be the living embodiment of our principles. To be about the work of building the beloved community. To be a people of intention and a people of conscience. Please go in peace.